Sometimes it's difficult to know exactly how another person feels in a particular situation. But try to imagine for a moment that you are the parent of a child with a developmental disability. Your child requires special services and treatment, which often necessitates dealing with many different professionals. These professionals are strangers to you, and sometimes it may be necessary to share very personal information with them, or even have them come to your home. The Young Adult Institute has produced this videotape and corresponding workbook to help you as a developmental disability professional gain a better understanding of what it's like for a family to have a child with a developmental disability, learn what families need and expect from professionals, and hear how families will face the future challenges of having a child with a disability. At certain points during the video, you will be asked to stop the tape and complete the corresponding exercise in your workbook. Stop the tape now and complete the exercise in your workbook. In this first segment, parents talk to us about what it's like to have a child with a developmental disability.
It is different to have a child with a handicap than just having normal children, especially myself as a single parent with 4 other children aside from my handicapped child. It's like when you have normal children, they grow, you expect them to go out on their own, do things, and you get a little peace and quiet. With a handicapped child, it doesn't end. It's like always having a baby that gets bigger and stronger. It's like, I mean, if you have a normal 3-year-old that's crying and you have to pick it up, try doing it with a 17-year-old that's like a 2-year-old.
Your whole life becomes different, where with your regular children, it's just play dates and taking them to the park and all the simple things, going to a Saturday afternoon movie. When you have a disabled child, it's a whole different area because they require certain therapies that they don't get at school. There's a lot of things that have to be arranged in the home where strange people are coming into your home to do therapies, and you might want to be sitting down with your children watching the Saturday morning cartoons, and you have to have people come because therapies have to be done because that's the only time it can be done.
One of the things that I've noticed with raising a child with disabilities compared to a child that's normal is the frustration, the lack of communication. This child cannot talk to you. You don't know what the child wants. Some days it's so frustrating. Whereas if you have a child that says, "Mommy, I want this, Mommy, I want that," I mean, they can beg all day. But when you have a child that cannot communicate with you, you're reading that child's mind constantly wondering what do they want. And that can be very frustrating. Some days I just don't know how I do it. I really don't.
I was afraid to go out with my son. I was afraid to confront people and tell them that my son is Down syndrome. I was afraid to be seen different. And I used to went to the park with my child, and I never went to the play area. I used to sit far away and lonely, afraid of confront other mommies, and afraid to confront them, ask questions, and afraid to see children that are normal, and seeing that my child don't even walk. And maybe we are different, but let's give us a chance.
I've had people run away from my daughter, and it doesn't really bother me because I feel sorry for the kid that they don't know. They don't even know why they're running away. It's just that they may look odd, or my daughter drools. I mean, that scares everybody. I've had adults actually afraid to sit next to her.
My friends that had normal children, I couldn't talk to them. They never knew what to say to me, first of all. And I felt like maybe they would judge me and look at me in a different way, or turn away from my daughter. You know, maybe I was hoping, maybe they don't see it. You know, so we'll ignore it. The whole situation, yeah.
The different differences that we find that in having friends with families as large as ours, which we do a couple, is that we can't do the spontaneous moving like they can. We can't just pick up and go. We have to think about wheelchairs. We have to think about whether there are going to be help there, because often we need it. Having you know, us holding, you know, each a wheelchair. What about the other two?
You know, they could do things when they're little that are cute, but as they get older, it becomes more obvious. It's harder. A 5-year-old that's handicapped, you know, people will stop and say, oh, but she's so cute. And they can get away with running around and laughing, you know, sitting on the floor. But as they get older and it's 17 and she decides to sit on the floor now, it's not a pretty sight. And you don't know what's going to be 2 years from now. So it doesn't end. You don't really know what to expect. You just go from day to day with it.
Stop the tape now and complete the next exercise in your workbook. We asked parents what they expect and need most from the professionals who work with them.
I think it's very, very important that professionals realize something, and that is that they have tremendous power and potential power in our lives. We parents don't always realize that, but we have such hopes and aspirations for what they're going to do with us, that when they come to us, sometimes maybe our feelings are unfair to the professional because we place too much on what they're going to do. And not all the times can they live up to what our expectations are, which is unfair to the professional. But it's important that they realize that when they come to our house, we need help. And we're looking to you to provide that help.
I firmly believe, particularly in the first year when it's discovered that one has a handicapped child, professionals could be of enormous help if they were to sit down with the family, explain that you're not alone, that this has happened to many families, not to judge you, to try to explain to the best of their ability what is happening with your child and what you can expect in the near future, what has happened with other families, what are the things out there that you can look for to help you.
They should come and see more of what's going on in the house. Take time out from the office. Come to the house when you don't feel, like you're really being tested, and just be in the house but look from the outside like you're not there. And you can really see what's going on there and then offer suggestions to what's going on.
Sure, good girl. And then come back out.
One of the things that they can do to help the parents is the communication. To me, that is the most important thing. The coming into the door, you says, hello, Joanne, how you feeling? What are you cooking? What are you making for dinner? How was your day? To just distract you away from the problems, the everyday problems. Well, mother, your child is not doing this, mother, your child is not doing that. That negative, you just distract me from the everyday problems that I have. To me, that's a lot of help.
One of the things that is important for professionals to realize is that if you set up an appointment, that it's not just a simple thing to just cancel that appointment. That we parents need to know in advance so we could set up. If you're going to be late, we've been waiting maybe a week or a month or maybe even sometimes more than a month for you to come to our house. So if you're going to be late, just extend us the courtesy of letting us know so that we know that you're going to be there. So our anxiety level and our stress level will be reduced, because we want to have a working relationship. But we really need to know that you're going to come and you're going to be there. It's important to be empathetic to us. It's important to feel for us. But it's more important that you understand us. We don't want you to feel that, woe is me, look at this terrible problem you have. We want you to be supportive of our needs. We want you to try to understand where we're going, what we have, and how are we going to deal with this together. It's important that not only do you talk to us, but as important, even more important, that you listen to us. Because one of the most important aspects of any program is parent input. We may be able to give you clues that we don't realize, and that you as trained professionals may be able to pick up things from what we say to better help us in dealing with our situation. We want you to realize that, in fact, our children are just like many other children. Their feelings and their wants may be harder to express or to achieve, but that doesn't take away the fact that they have those feelings and they have those wants.
And treating different from professionals, sometimes they think because I have a handicapped child, they think I'm special, and my son is special, and somehow they make you feel like your child is the only one with Down syndrome in the world. So they put you in such a place that you don't feel like you are part of society. I don't want to be treated so special, like, okay, here it comes a young lady with a Down syndrome child. We are regular people. We're going out, we have to eat, we go, we sleep, we may have the same needs that our normal people have. We are different, yes, because my son's needs are completely different than a normal child, but we don't need to be treated like that. They put us in such a special place that we can get on my son's situation.
In dealing with professionals, there can be certain instances that can bother you. I've had respite workers that have come to the house, and I guess the best way to phrase it would be to say they have a certain attitude that makes you feel a little funny. They chose this line of work. They're coming to do their job, to work with, your handicapped child. And some of them can make you feel like they're doing you a big favor. If that's the line of work they did choose, do it freely and with feeling for the child and the parent.
The most important thing is that they have a cheerful outlook. In somebody such as a home attendant or a respite worker who comes into your home to help you in your situation, for me, and I think for my husband, and specifically for the children, what is very important is someone with a cheerful outlook.
Well, you gotta grab too, Alba.
Ideally, we're looking for somebody not only that is cheerful, like Mary said, and not only somebody who is somewhat willing, but who is really, committed.
To me, one of the things that makes the difference in a good therapist and a bad therapist, some days can be so frustrating. I used to watch my therapist, and she wanted India to do things that India wasn't doing, but she never gave up. She kept trying. The next day she would come back. She wasn't frustrated. You come into somebody's home, whether it's your job or not, you just do it. You do it. Whether you want to be there or not, you do it. That's what you're being paid for. Yeah. And also, to me, what makes a great therapist, the heart. You have to love children as your own, not just as an object. You have to love these kids, working with them. And that's what put the icing on the cake, is to love doing what you're doing. In any profession, you have to want it.
I'd like to say something about having professionals and therapists and so on and so forth come into your home. First of all, it's an enormous invasion of privacy. A lot of us, at some points in your life, you have to have people at home for one reason or another because you choose to. In the case where there's a disabled child in the family, it's not necessarily your choosing.
Professionals sometimes make me ask me questions that doesn't have to be anything to do with my son's situation right now and my situation right now. So that made me feel like we're not going anywhere.
You know, one of the things that I found out in dealing with professionals, that quite often they ask questions that really aren't relevant to our situation. I know my son is mentally retarded. I know my son has cerebral palsy. We don't have to be constantly reminded about that or what might have been. You know, we don't need to know that, oh, if he didn't have this, he would be playing Little League Baseball, or, oh, my child is the same age as your child, and he's in the SP class, and I'm worried about what my child's going to do for the summer when we have a child who has mental retardation. Understand that you're questioning of us. Understand that what you're saying to us is important, that your questioning may turn us off or may excite us about the program that you represent and the program that we want to become involved with. It's just a very critical area that questioning sometimes, even though it's meant well, becomes more destructive. I think it's critical that professionals understand that to a large degree, not only are you our only hope, you're our last hope. And that if you fail us, if you let us down, if you don't provide that type of service and that type of honesty and that type of respect, and you don't listen to us, our children are doomed, and so are we as families.
Stop the tape now and complete the next exercise in your workbook. In this final segment, parents talk about the future challenges of having a child with a developmental disability.
As far as the future is concerned for the children, we have the same dreams as we have for Oliver or Gabriella. Obviously, not exactly the same dreams, but that both of them will be able to lead as independent a life as possible. We hope to give them as good an education. We will work very hard so they will both try to become as independent as possible so they can eventually go out into the world and be independent.
As Kelly gets older now, I find I'm entitled, I think, to a life of my own. The other children have, grown with her all these years. They don't even know what it's like, not to have her around. And I would look now into residential group homes for Kelly. I think the break is going to be hard, as it is with any child, but more so because it's like you're breaking with a baby. But in the long run, I feel it's better for her because she does more for herself when she's not at home. We do for her, which makes it easier for us and easier for her.
I want Daniel to live in some type of environment where he gets the same love and happiness and, yes, sadness and sorrow that comes with growing up. But I want that done with respect and with dignity, and I want him to be able to grow into a fuller person as he has potential of growing into. We sometimes tend to think and forget that our children have feelings, and as they get older, they have feelings just like adults have. And we have to respect that, and we have to understand that we parents, as we get older, our greatest fear is what's going to happen to our children.
One of the most important things that I think I would hope for my children really in the future is that neither the disabled children that we have nor the not disabled children, that they don't have any bitterness, and the bitterness of having disability among the family. Often I point out to them that they're not as bad off as all the people are, that there's a lot worse things out there, that they have and hold a lot of hope, and that's what has, I think, both of us made us, go through a lot of the things that we've already gone through, that we see a hope in the other side of the fence. There is a lot they can accomplish, and there is a lot they can do. So I think that'd be great if they can have that positive outlook in life.
I have this recurring nightmare, and the nightmare is that my wife and I are driving home one night and we get killed in a car crash. And as hopefully I'm going up to heaven, I'm looking down at my apartment and I see all my friends there crying and sad, and I see Alexandra, my daughter, and I see my son Daniel in the corner. And what scares me is that I see them all fighting over who's going to take Alexandra. But there's Daniel alone. And matter of fact, the only one who seems to be trying to reach Daniel is Alexandra. And then slowly some men come in and take Danny out. And the saddest part is that nobody seemed to know that he was even gone. And usually at that point I wake up in dead sweat and I run into Danny's room to make sure he's there. But I began to see that Danny's life is not going to be the life of every child. And I began to get worried about what will his future be.
I have hopes like the average mother. I want my daughter to grow up and go to a great school and get married, have wonderful children. But if I can't have that, I would just like her to be a great person, just to be a loving little girl or an adult, just, just maybe stay out of trouble. I just want her to be normal. I want her to be normal. I'm going to be honest with you. If I can do it all over again, I want my daughter to be normal.
I don't have any hope on my son's future of if professionals are going to change the attitude. I just live one day at a time, and if I start thinking how my son's future is going to be like, I might drive myself crazy. I may can't deal with my son's needs right now. So I don't have any hope. I just live one day at a time.